Hi again, guys. Having some connection issues. For some reason, everything works very well in my car, but not outside my car. Anyways, good morning, everybody. Christina, Ken, Holly, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're still with me. So, like I was saying, I am going to talk about post-workout nutrition. Um, what are things that you want to do post-workout? What are things you want to eat? What are things you want to avoid? And some supplements that are essential post-workout. So let's begin. Number one, assuming we are doing resistance training, training with weights, or let's say high intensity plyometrics, or you did a sprint interval workout where you're obviously running track, a lot of power, a lot of speed. Hi Anthony, thanks for tuning in. Hope you're well. The number one thing you want to focus on is proteins. Okay, obviously proteins post-workout absolutely essential. Now some of you may feel that post-workout I don't feel hungry, I have a hard time eating. This is where a protein shake is excellent. Morning Holly. Protein shake is excellent post-workout. Some of you may want to just have amino acids, BCAA supplements, and that is okay as well. So number one thing you want to get post-workout is your proteins, whether it's in a shake or BCAAs, or you even eat chicken, steak. I would eat something that's lean and easier to digest. So chicken, turkey, fish, those are great options. Secondly, I would look at carbs. Post-workout, most people can handle carbs better. A lot of people, if you're insulin, hey Ken, thank you. Most people are, if you're insulin resistant, now like I mentioned in my last video, insulin resistance is where you cannot handle carbs well. How can you find out? If you store stubborn fat in your upper back, love handles, and belly button, then that is that most likely you are insulin resistant. Another blood test you can do, it's called the hemoglobin A1C. If the readings are high, then you are insulin resistant. How do I test clients for insulin resistance? I actually do skin fold measurements when I do biosignature. If I measure the subscapular area and the love handle area, or the suprailiac area, and if those readings are high, that tells me this person doesn't manage carbs well. Regardless, post-workout, I find when a lot of people can handle carbs. If you're insulin resistant, that is, you cannot handle carbs well, make sure you go for low glycemic carbs. So you have your sweet potatoes, your brown rice, things like that. Okay. If you are insulin sensitive, you can manage carbs very well. Then fast digesting carbs are your thing. So white rice, white potatoes, maybe even some fruit juice, depending on what your goal is. When I'm helping people add lean muscle, I actually give them glutamine and fruit juice post-workout. And this is for insulin sensitive people, people who can handle carbs very well. I ask them to do that with their amino acids. For people who are trying to get leaner, I may give them just amino acids with glutamine, no fruit juice. So like I mentioned, so number one, you want to take proteins in post-workout. Number two, you want to focus on your carbohydrate intake. Okay. Couple of things you don't want to be doing. Number one, have coffee post-workout. The reason being, when you're training, you are increasing your cortisol. Remember, training is stress on your body. So post-workout, you want to actually bring your cortisol back down to normal. Things like coffee, any kind of stimulants post-workout will keep your cortisol up higher. What does that mean? It can disrupt your sleep. It can actually affect your appetite after. And it will keep your cortisol up higher, which is long-term. If this keeps happening, your tendency to store body fat around your waist goes up. So especially if you're trying to get your waist leaner, avoid coffee and stimulants post-workout. Secondly, avoid fats post-workout. Okay, so after training, you want to focus on proteins and carbs, not so much on proteins and fats. Okay, post-workout, you want to get the most out of that insulin spike, and that's the time when you can actually have some carbs and your body will actually use it. What's up, James? My buddy James just got his level 3 FST, fascial stretch therapy. If you've never done that, you need to come check it out. It's phenomenal for anything from increasing range of motion, strength, correcting imbalances, and even fixing pain. So big shout out to James. Going back to post-workout nutrition, so avoid caffeine or any stimulants post-workout. Also avoid fats post-workout. Fats, however, are great pre-workout. So in my last video I mentioned fats pre-workout is amazing, especially combined with proteins, because it'll give you that mental focus and drive and energy to train hard. So make sure you're avoiding stimulants, caffeine, and fats post-workout. What do you want to focus on post-workout? Proteins and carbs. Now, if someone is very, very insulin resistant, which is, again, they don't manage carbs well, or if I find that they are pre-diabetic or diabetic, I usually will not give them carbs even post-workout. I'll keep them with proteins, vegetables, and that's where their carbs will come from, fibrous carbs, but I also give them high doses of glutamine, and that will replenish the glycogen in the system. Now, this is only for people who don't manage carbs very well at all or are pre-diabetic, okay? Supplements post-workout. Again, like I mentioned before, post-workout, you want recovery. You want your cortisol back down to normal. So things like phosphatidylserine, things like vitamin C, even adaptogens. I'm big on adaptogens. Almost my last few videos, I've spoken about adaptogens like ashwagandha, rhodiola, things like that. And those are herbs that you can use post-workout because they will balance your cortisol back to normal. So what are some supplements you can use? Again, BCAAs, branched chain amino acids. They're a quick way to get BCAAs and aminos back into your system post-training. Vitamin C is a great one if you can handle it. It'll actually flush out. So vitamin C especially is good post-workout if you've used stimulants pre-workout, because it'll actually flush out the extra stimulants, and that way you don't get a crash post-workout. So vitamin C is excellent. Phosphatidylserine, this is one of those nutrients that I mentioned before in my video about stress and supplements. So phosphatidylserine is an excellent one post-workout. And these are some of the supplements you want to use. Magnesium is an excellent one post-workout, especially if you train in the evening. You want to get magnesium in because it'll actually, again, signal your brain to calm down, bring your cortisol down so that it doesn't affect or disrupt your sleep. So just to recap, your supplements post-workout could be protein shakes, could be amino acids, branched chain amino acids, or it could also be vitamin C, phosphatidylserine, and magnesium. So these are 3 supplements or 4 supplements that you can use post-workout. Also, a bonus supplement. This is something that I've been using for a while now. I am not very insulin sensitive. I tend to store body fat around my love handles, upper back, and belly button the most. I am a lot better. You know, I've been working on it for the last few years, and I've become way more insulin sensitive. However, something I've been using is glucose disposing agents. So those are things like fenugreek, chromium. These are things that actually take excess insulin from your blood and take it away from and avoid it from being stored as fat. So post-workout, I like to take that with my high-carb meals. Post-workout, or even when I do my high-carb meals, which is coming up on Saturday, and I'm very excited. But I take glucose disposing agents. I really like the one by Blackstone Labs. It's called Glycolog. Is a really good one, but there's a lot of other brands that carry glucose disposing agents. If you want specific brands, please feel free to message me. But that actually helps keep the carbs back into the muscle as glycogen rather than getting stored as fat. So excellent supplement, especially if you're insulin resistant. Hope that was interesting and you got some great answers. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to message me. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you next week. See ya.